Gothic stainless steel rings are seriously cool. Make a bold statement, show up to an event in style, or just look cool with some slick rings that represent you. I chose the Wolf because I'm a member of the Wolf Pack and I really like love bites. Go to gothic.com, use promo code CHILL20, CHILL20 to get 20% off. Link is in the description box below.
All right, guys. Welcome to Rant and Chill, a channel where I like to rant and I like to chill. It's a very simple concept, okay? And here we're actually chilling. I'm chilling with Jeffrey over here, a NEMOPHILA fan. He came onto the show, wanted to talk about everything NEMOPHILA related. And that's what we're going to do here tonight. If you like this sort of thing, press the like button, share it, and subscribe. You already know what to do here, okay? And as we talk, definitely let us know what your favorite NEMOPHILA tracks are. And if you catch this after the fact, not live, we'll definitely feel free to do that in the comment section afterwards as well. Let us know what your favorite NEMOPHILA tracks are, which ones had to grow on you, and let me know the song that got you into the band, and if it's still one of your favorite songs. Okay. All right. With that said, you already know about me, guys, right? Let's learn a little bit about Jeffrey. So, Jeff, what is
James.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said Steve?
Oh, James.
Oh, James. Why am I calling you Jeff? You know what? I have one job over here just to get names right. And I keep on messing things up all the freaking time. I think it's the booze. I need to cut the booze.
I have a hard time with that, so I can't.
Oh
I can't
my
say
God.
anything.
I wrote down James. I wrote down Jeff. I wrote down Chris. I wrote down Steve. All he had to do was look at the freaking name. Oh my God. I blame.
Okay.
I'm good. All right.
I'm telling you, it's all right.
All right, James. James, I'm gonna call you Jeff from now on. All right, Jeffrey. No, I'm messing with you. James.
I got a younger brother named Jeffrey.
Oh, maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe I thought I was talking to the brother. Maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But maybe
right.
I'm psychic. Wait, when was the last time you talked to your brother?
It's actually been a little while.
Oh man.
Since he kind of settled down and had a kid. He's been and he lives on the other side of the state from me.
Oh, okay.
He lives by Detroit, and I live on the other side of the state.
Well, I got to tell you something. I may or may not be something of a medium. Okay, so maybe he's trying to talk to you through me. Okay, weird stuff. Okay. Anyway, James,
Right?
who are you and what do you do? We're gonna start off with that.
My name is James Thomas. I'm a systems engineer. These days I work on nuclear power systems, nuclear power plants, reactors, that kind of thing. I've done a lot of engineering work over the course of my career. I worked at NASA for a while. I worked in defense, worked in aerospace in various capacities. So I'm kind of a technical guy, a geek. Definitely not your average guy. And I've been into music since I was really young. I grew up in kind of a musical family. When I was growing up, we had both kinds of music, country and Western.
Yeah.
And my dad played guitar and sang in bands, and he taught all of us. So I started off really young playing guitar, singing. I tried doing that for a little while, but circumstances, I got really frustrated. The state of things, state of record companies was the final straw for me. Dealing with a record company and decided, no, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. And I was in college, so I just finished college and went down the career path that I chose. But I'm really into music. I love music. I've always loved music. I listen to music. I'm finicky in my tastes. I like everything from classical to jazz fusion to heavy metal.
I see. And so, as a sound engineer, because you have a sound engineering background, do you get? Okay, so stumbling upon NEMOPHILA, like, let's get this. Like, what are your thoughts about them as far as a sound engineering goes?
Well, they are what I like. Extremely high level of musicianship. I'm really into progressive forms of music.
Okay.
I like the classical masters. I like the very progressive jazz fusion. I like progressive metal and progressive rock.
Okay.
Um, and their music doesn't on the surface necessarily meet what I like, but they're such high level musicians, they drew me in from that. And um, I listen to a lot of things like symphonic metal
Mm,
and various progressive forms. You know, obviously I like Dream Theater and Tool and Opeth, and
okay.
uh, Symphony X, um, Epica. Um, I was really a big fan of Camelot. You know, bands, a lot of bands that I like a lot of variety. I don't want to get bored. The attention span of a hummingbird.
I
um,
think a lot of those bands are be playing in Prague Power with Love Bites next year. By the way, I just want to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
I mean, at least a couple of them will be,
Yeah.
so that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting enough.
Yeah.
Especially if they change what bands are playing, which it sounds like will happen, um, based on their history. But
Oh.
and I got a ticket to Prague Power. I'm going to go see Love Bites.
Oh
I saw
man.
Nemophila.
That's so good. Cool.
I saw Nemophila their very first U.S. Show. So
Wait,
we got to do it
Nemophila's
with
first U.S. show was what?
Whiskey a Go
That was
Go.
on Whiskey Go Go, right? Yeah, yeah. Man, that
That was the
is
first time a couple of them had been outside of Japan,
yeah,
let
yeah.
alone in the United States.
I remember that event. Of course, I wasn't
But
there, but
Chucky had been here before. Um, I think she might have been the only one that ever been in the U.S. before.
yeah, I think so.
Um, maybe Tom who had been here before. Trying to
Maybe,
remember.
yeah.
I researched it back then. I researched it a little bit. I can't answer definitively because they don't always share everything,
Okay.
obviously. But they're not shy. They have no problem being public with everything. If you haven't noticed yet,
Oh yeah.
pretty
Well,
much everything.
they're public with a lot of stuff while at the same time making sure like key. It seems like they're important to make sure key information doesn't get out. Like, I'm very surprised how like they are so comfortable with putting their kids out there, but
Yeah,
also
they
not
went
showing.
slowly.
But they from what I understand, to the best of my knowledge, they haven't said what the kids' names are or anything like that, right?
Mm.
I don't think
I'll
they're
share
gonna.
the names. Um, Tamu at first did not share who her husband is,
Yeah,
even though he's famous, even more famous than she is. At first, she didn't let anybody know who he was. She was very, very shy about it, very, very private. Slowly, as time went by, at first she didn't show her child's face. Um, and she didn't mention her second daughter at first. But slowly, as time's gone by, she's gotten more open with that.
yeah.
Began sharing that kind of information. Let's go back for a second here.
Oh yeah,
We'll
we
have
will. We
time to
will.
talk about that for
We're gonna
sure.
get into
All that stuff.
how you discovered him too. We're
Yeah,
gonna
let's
do,
start with that.
yeah.
Like I said, I listen to a lot of music, a lot of more complicated progressive type music. But I heard Destros way
Yes.
back. Um, First, I heard him a really long time ago when the members that went on to form Mary's Blood were with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't pay that much attention then. But I could hear that they had potential. I was surprised. I was looking for good female bands to start showing up on the scene sooner or later because females were starting to dominate vocals and in very many areas, and I was looking for that.
Yeah.
Actually, looking for females because they have a spirit I think that lends itself well to performing music.
Okay.
Um,
I do not
you look
disagree
in the
there.
classical arena, the best pianists are female. The best violinists are female.
Yeah.
Best voices are female. I mean, we can go on and on and on. The best cellos are female. And there's no reason why it shouldn't be that way in other genres of music. No reason why it shouldn't be that way in metal. And I'm surprised it's taken this long. And I'm surprised it's not happening anywhere else. Sure, there are some good female bands out there, but there's few and far between in other areas. But in Japan, all of a sudden it's blown up. But I was looking for it.
Yeah, that's so
And
strange,
I heard
right?
Destro.
I
I heard him again. Yeah, I know it is. You got the big girls band boom, and everywhere else it's a little bit it's a little bit like a desert. And then you go here, it's like a tropical paradise. It's blooming.
And I don't want to take you off
But,
course, but I do like to interject here and there, and it just because you're
Go ahead.
bringing some things that are good. Like, why isn't there like a boom over, let's say, in the States, in the U.S.? Why isn't there like
Or
a
Europe.
bunch of a surge of bands of chick bands?
Or Europe. There's more female bands in Europe than there are here. And there's even in South America, there's a couple of them. For some reason,
the Warning. I know the Warning, and
uh,
I'm sure we're gonna learn about
there's,
others.
I'll have to think now because I don't hardly listen to them. But there's a few bands out there that are all female in Europe. Several of them.
Yeah, I'm aware of like the
Considering how many
six
bands there are in Europe. It's a very, very tiny percentage. Mine's going real blank on the names too, but there's a few of them out there. There's this Russian band that I really liked, and I had high hopes for them. There's a little bit of material that I heard from was really, really good. They had a really good drummer, and I had high hopes for them. There's some other bands out there that I listened to. Some of them weren't even my cup of tea, but because they were all female, I would listen to them. But like I said, I heard Death Strokes. I heard them again in 2012. At the same time that Aldius came out with their Dominator song. Kind of got a little bit of airplay on YouTube and kind of made a little bit of a splash. And I heard Death Strokes again, and I was very impressed. But not necessarily impressed enough to start listening to them on a regular basis. I'm kind of finicky. It takes a little while. But I did like them. I was very, very impressed with Dominator and very impressed with that lineup of Death Strokes that had Marina and Love Bites rhythm section. But I kind of, paid attention. It was on my radar. And then I heard when Death Strokes ended and and Hana moved on and started Love Bites.
Yeah.
And I waited for that to happen because it sounded like that was going to be a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I heard a couple of more bands like Cynthia and Mary's Blood and a couple more if I think about it real hard. Some of them not around. Even Got Your Spin, I heard, and Doll's Box. But then I heard that very first Love Bites. I wasn't as impressed, but I knew I could hear the potential. I could hear that they had a lot of potential, and that was a good possibility. And their first album came out, and I was done. Shadowmaker, that sucked me in. I started listening to them and other Japanese metal bands, all female metal bands.
Man, yeah, Love Bites is one of my favorite bands of all time at this point.
They put out their first album, and that I started listening to a lot of it. I started looking for it and finding these groups. And then 2019, late 2019, when NEMOPHILA first started getting together, I read about it. And I was already following SAKI. I've been following Tamu for a long time. She's a very, very impressive drummer, obviously.
Yeah.
And her taste reflects mine.
Well, yeah, and do you want to explain a little bit about that? Because apparently before she started NEMOPHILA, even before she started, she was in another band. Was it Sorry Mimi? What was it called?
Surround Me.
Yeah. So she
Sarita, who I really like, and I found her because of Tamu.
And she apparently was a very active drummer, would drum covers in have a lot of videos over on YouTube, and
yes. She became friends with a guitarist, Daisuke Kurosawa. I don't know if you know who he is or not, but if you look on her YouTube channel, you'll see him. And if you look in the early NEMOPHILA videos, once in a while he's in the background doing their sound.
Ooh, okay.
But he's a really good guitarist. He's very, very progressive oriented. And she met him, and he kind of made her his session drummer. He would use her all the time, and he did the engineering and video production on her videos that she was putting on her channel. She was obviously pretty young when she started.
Yeah.
So kind of what got her foot in the door was that collaboration that's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did a lot of videos, and she did videos of stuff I like, Symphony X and Dream Theater, as well as the Japanese, because she got famous for a couple of her Japanese covers of X Japan and my mind's gonna go Maximum the Hormone.
Maximum the Hormone, yeah.
And
she definitely praised the drummer Maximum the Hormone. I saw a video where she like paid respects
that's
to
one
her.
of her big influences.
Yeah.
And her name is Nao, like Nao, and she sings sometimes, and she's a drummer.
Yeah,
she's not bad, and she was a big influence on a lot of.
Oh yeah, I mean she's a good drummer too.
A lot of the female drummers. She was a big influence on a lot of them, like Akane, Hirose of Handmade, and I think all of them will cite her as an influence.
Yeah, and rightly
especially
so.
for Tamu. Tamu will also sing, and I think that's one of the reasons why, because she wanted to emulate her when she was young.
Mm-hmm. And she does it well. I mean, Tamu's amazing.
And she tried to do a solo career. I don't know if you know this or not. She tried to do a solo career. She did some solo stuff.
Oh, really?
An album out there, and a couple of singles with that Lady Beard, that whack job.
Okay, I heard about that, but I didn't see it, and so.
Look on her channel. Gotta dig a little bit. If you look on her channel, you'll find it.
All right. So I learned something here.
She also wanted to start a band, and she got together with some collaborations. And a couple of them I wish they had streamed and recorded and put someplace where you could find now, because a couple of those collaborations would have been great bands.
Yeah.
There was had Yashiro, live support guitarist for Mary's Blood, and I don't know if you know who Sakura Yoshida is, of Hagani.
Okay.
She was those two guitarists, and who was the bass player? I can't even remember now. It was like an all-star lineup. And she tried to do that and try to get something going. And then when Mayu approached her and approached her first, even though she went to school with Harajan, he approached Mayu first through a mutual friend.
Okay.
And there's a story behind that, which is really interesting. Because 2015, both Tamu and her band Saramami and Mayu and her band Lipstick competed to be at Nanoyan, the festival that Shoya has every year, all female.
Yes. Yeah.
And they both competed to be that last invited band. They had to win a battle of the bands to get that opening spot, that very first opener spot.
Oh, well, see, I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool.
And Mayu actually was competing against, her band was competing against Tamu's band. That's how they first, became aware of each other.
So they crossed paths.
They didn't meet, but they became aware of each other. And Mayu actually wrote that song "Life." That experience from losing that battle of the bands. That's how that song came about. But anyway, moving on.
Whoa.
We're fast forwarding now to 2019, and Tamu was looking to make a band or
do a session band, right? Like a Mayu
and
session band.
Mayu approached her about being in her band. It started off as a session band.
Yeah.
But she wanted to make a band.
Mm-hmm.
Mayu quit Lipstick to make her own band. She didn't want to be in somebody else's band.
What was Mayu's name in Lipstick? Do you remember?
Cindy.
Yeah.
Sindy.
Yes.
Anyway,
okay.
So she changed her name to Mayu, changed her image. She wanted to play heavier music. She wanted to be more in control of the band. She's not a control freak, obviously, but she wanted to be a lot more control of the band and what they did in the direction that they were going. So she started that Mayu Sessions. And like I said, first she approached Tamu, and Tamu agreed because she was looking to start a band or be in a band, so she thought she'd give it a try.
Right.
And then Mayu went to school with Haragachi-san.
Oh yeah,
she already knew her. They went to music school together.
Okay.
So they knew each other from a couple years of music school together. And they were friends. And then she actually approached Saki to produce it, to be in the band, but to produce it.
Mm-hmm.
But Saki knew Tamu real well from Now No Young and performing together. Tamu played drums on her Guitar Girls collection
Okay.
project, and so she knew her, and she kind of knew her well. And when she heard about that, she wanted to be in the band.
Mm-hmm.
So she grabbed the best guitarist she knew would be interested in being in a band that wasn't in a band at the time, and that was Hazuki. Shout out to
Hazuki, yeah.
Squalia. And she grabbed Hazuki, and the rest obviously is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I read about that in the early stages. So it would have been like maybe at the time they did those 2 live performances, or right after that. Created a little bit of buzz in the Japanese press. And I heard about it, and I was already a fan of both Saki and Tamu, and I knew who Hazuki was from being in Squalia, and just all the time she was spending with Narumi doing live stuff. She did live stuff for Rami, live stuff for the X.
Mm-hmm.
I knew who 3 of them were. I was interested.
Right.
And
Okay.
they put videos out in February, right before the global pandemic and the lockdown. Put a couple videos out, and I found them as soon as they got released. So I was looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the cover of The Trooper, and I think Iran is a great song. Love Iran.
Yeah, that's actually still one of my favorite songs of theirs.
So that point on, I really liked them. A little bit more metalcore, and that's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I was
There's a lot of bands that are in odd genres that are just good. And I don't hold that against anyone. I like Bandmate, and that's their style is definitely not my cup of tea. They are just so good.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, and that's
I've seen
true
them 4
too.
times now. I have to say I like them.
No, yeah, like you mentioned the sound engineer and stuff like that. There was a question on my mind about. I was going to ask you if you really like the deep sound of their guitars that NEMOPHILA has. Because
that's one of my biggest attractions to them. Is both of those guitarists are exceptional.
Yeah.
And their guitar sound is outstanding. If you listen to some of those live performances in headphones, and they get some great guitar tone.
They really do
have great guitar tone, and they play, and the guitar riffs and the style and the way they put their sound together is great, and it works great together. I especially like Hazuki. She's more my style as far as a guitarist is concerned. The neoclassical thing.
Okay.
Being more of a complete guitarist. Obviously, Saki's a great classic shredder. She's a female Steve Vai.
Man, yeah,
really
she could shred out some amazing solos
too. Technical ability.
Yeah.
She can shred with the best of them.
Hmm?
But she's not so arrogant. She still thinks she needs to get a lot better, and she's trying really hard. I mean, she was 15 years old putting up videos that would blow you away how fast she was.
Yeah, I get what I think I get what you're saying
the
there.
time since then, getting more complete, more rounded in her playing, and she's very aware of that, very self-aware of that, and she works really hard.
Yeah, like there's certain guitars that seem like they're driven to kind of show off their skill and what they can do. But Saki seems like she's more driven just to have fun in creating what the band wants to create.
She's realized, and this is something that a lot of shredders don't know. It's obvious from the way they play and the way they carry themselves. They haven't gotten it yet. Music is not about playing your guitar fast. Music is about, it takes a lot more than that to make great music.
Yeah.
And she's all about that. She's all about becoming a better guitarist, a more rounded guitarist, and doing what it takes to on the blanks necessary to make good music. And you can tell she does that. She's doing all that hard work.
For sure.
and
And that's how she's able to change,
I feel-
almost like change like genres a little bit. Like she doesn't just stick to like intensive shredding and all that stuff to show off skill. She'll even do like a new metal sort of sounds at times, like the song Style, for instance. It's like, oh, that's she made it work. I like it.
I listen to her. I purchase her live streams, and she does a lot of live streams with drummer. NEMOPHILA is used as their session drummer when Tamu wasn't available. If you watch their cover of Rage Against the Machines,
Yeah, I've seen
Rage
that.
Against the Machine, the cover they do,
Yeah,
that's
just
him
about all
playing
the
drums.
covers I've watched. Yeah.
That guy who's playing drums, the only guy playing drums on any of their videos, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Okay.
Minari.
Okay.
Shun Minari. He does this instrumental live streams, and he's got a regular cast of people that perform with him.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever listened to Fuki or Lightbringer. Her bass player.
Lightbringer, I'm familiar with a little bit. Fuki, I'm very familiar with.
Okay, well, her bassist from Lightbringer, Vicky, he's a regular.
Okay.
And him and that drummer blend well together. Sometimes Mao, I don't know if you know who he is,
The
but
keyboardist.
he does a lot of arranging for.
Love Bites.
He's from Lightbringer as well.
Yeah.
He does a lot of arranging for Love Bites and Lonesome Blue, and I just seen somebody else that he's working with.
Oh,
too.
you mentioned Lonesome Blue, man.
Hey.
That is a band I hope sticks together. I know right now they're kind of
Um,
they're kind of wounded, but they're still holding it together. They have a guitarist for the
Well,
show in
what-
December.
Went in a more mainstream direction, and I've seen this already. It happened to Bright Deer. They lost 3 guitarists, and 2 of them was because they went in a more mainstream direction. They went in a more mainstream direction, and Down on Me was not having anything to do with it. He's more of an artsy type guitarist,
Yeah.
very very technical. She was expecting them to do that first song that they put out. She was expecting to go in that direction. I can just tell she got less and less pleased with it.
Oh, I think
And
you're
then
right
now-
on that because it's all. I think the last live
Now,
show.
no, down. You
Yeah.
could tell she was bored.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Bored.
I was like, I reacted to that. I was like, oh my God. I think I just reacted to the last show of that guitarist because she looked like she was not having any fun. So,
She didn't. I seen that. And the more mainstream they got, because the more time went by, they went in a more mainstream direction.
yeah.
That's my only complaint about Mao. Seems to want to write music that's going to be popular. He needs to concentrate on writing good music because he
Well-
does a good job. When he does that, he does a good job.
I don't have any complaints, though, because the stuff he
More of an-
arranges for Love
more of an
Bites is pretty
arranger.
good.
More of an arranger. He'll take other people, like with the people, he doesn't collaborate with Miyako. She does all her own arranging. But he collaborates with the rest of the band, except for the drummer. And he didn't arrange her stuff, Miyako did. But he works with Asami and Miri. He worked with Miho, and that's where it started, this collaboration with her. And they do most of the writing, and he'll do the arranging.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand the differences there, the nuances.
Yeah,
Write
like
music.
writing the riff, like
Write
writing,
melodies.
yeah, and kind of figuring out where it goes, right? Or
And the arranger takes it and turns it into a song,
gotcha.
basically.
Okay.
So to me, it's a very important part. And Miyako's a true songwriter.
Mm.
She's a great composer.
Okay.
Um,
Now let's
ranges
take this
all of
back
her
a
own
little
stuff.
bit real fast because I liked how you're very familiar with NEMOPHILA right from the beginning. Like you sound like you followed them from like the beginning. What was the first song you heard of theirs?
Trooper.
The Trooper.
That was the
Yeah.
first one they put out. Like a week later, they put out Oran.
Yeah.
So it was
Okay.
back to back. And then because of Tamu being pregnant,
Mhm.
the space there before they put out anything else. They put out Raite in August, so that would have been February.
Yeah.
Lockdown hit. Didn't do anything else until August. I was waiting. At that time, I was waiting for everything as it came out. I was waiting for their first live stream. I was waiting for the second one. I was waiting for everything. I flew across the country to Los Angeles to see them perform at Whiskey Go Go. Then I went to Aftershock that year just to see them.
And what was that like? What was it like seeing them for the first time at Whiskey Go Go?
Great. It was really,
man.
really great. I kind of spent a little bit of money. Kind of went for it. I bought a booth,
Okay.
a VIP booth, on the first floor, and later on, it turned out that Mayu was doing a little mini interview. She was sitting at my booth. You could see my name.
Okay.
It's on that disc where they put the did their show with loudness
Okay.
and the extras on that disc.
Okay. So on the
course, I
extra
took
on
a
that
screenshot of that
Blu-ray
one and
is
saved
your
it.
name. Your name is there, which is Jefferson, by
It said
the way.
reserved
It's
for
not James.
James Thomas, and you can see the James and you can see THO, and she's sitting there talking. I took a screenshot of that and saved it.
That's cool.
This is
That's pretty
great.
cool. That's pretty cool. But
I purchased a whole booth, but I was gonna bring some people with me, but the last minute I decided no. When I got busy with work, and I would have had to pay for it, so I just flew down there and invited people that were already there to the booth.
yeah,
I had a
man.
great night.
Yeah, I was
a
going
great
to ask
night.
you, well, what sort, like, did you have to take any measures, or like, was it difficult to arrange that to just go out there to see them?
Oh, that wasn't too bad as far as that goes. I looked around at hotels and I decided that I just decided to screw it. I blew money. I took the nicest one in that area, which is virtually across the street.
Okay.
I could see the Whiskey A Go Go from my window.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good spot. Good spot to be in.
Yeah, it's like 400 yards according to Google Maps. It was across the street. That was nice. And then we went to the Rainbow Room after the show.
Mm-hmm. I heard a lot
And
of people went there, right? Just by the band went there too, right?
yes, the band went there too, and I bribed the waitress and paid for the drinks.
You paid for the girls' drinks? Oh, look at that.
I did. Yes, I did.
Jefferson Thomas. I mean, James Thomas paid for their drinks.
And I don't know if I should brag about that or not, but what the hell. And I bought everybody who wanted one. I bought everybody's first drink.
No.
Went there that I knew from the
Okay,
Facebook page.
you're the guy. You're the guy to go to concerts with. You're the guy to go to parties with. Oh my God, you'd be paying for everyone's drink. Look at this guy. He's a generous
And
man.
they were keeping their distance from everybody because they were afraid of COVID. So they were keeping their distance from everybody
Yeah.
during that show. One of the members of Scandal supposedly got sick from COVID while she was in America earlier that year.
Mm.
So there's a reason why. But I actually got up close to them accidentally. As they were leaving, I went in to use the bathroom. We were sitting outside.
All right.
And I passed them in the hallway, and it's really, really cramped. So I basically had brushed up against them, walking by them.
Okay.
Like, oh, wow. By then, I had a few drinks.
Okay.
It was like, this is for real.
I can't believe I just walked by Saki and Tamu and Haraguchi-san and
Like I said, it's tight enough in there. You're basically brushing against people for
wow.
to leave at the same time as you're walking in. So I saw them up close, and so following year when they came back, I bought tickets to 3 of the shows, but I ended up not being able to go. That sucked. And the people would tell me the stories about them actually getting to see them and even talk to them a little bit. I was mad.
You mean when they hit the other spots later on that year? You had
this
3
year, early this year.
Yeah, early this year. Yeah, I was
March of this year.
I was able to go to the one we were talking before when you're kind of familiar with this area that I live. Webster.
Scout Bar?
Scout Bar, yeah. I can't believe
Hey, I used to live 3 blocks from the Scout Bar.
dude, I can't
Then
believe
when I
they
first went
played
down
there.
to Houston,
I can't believe they actually played there. I was like, Scout Bar is a hole in the wall, dude. Scout Bar is a small bar.
Yeah, but a lot of bands have played there.
Yeah, true.
A lot of bands.
True.
But
But
little, it's like the Whiskey A Go Go of Houston.
is
Surprised at some of the bands that show up there. Like I said, I used to live. The whole time I lived in Clear Lake, it was really close by. I used to go there a lot, and there were some good bands that played there. I was there.
It's true. There are a lot of bands that
I
go there.
hard about it now, but
Yeah,
I like that place.
Like they fly up from. They fly up from Japan. They hit all these venues, and they hit up that one. But it works. Yeah. I'm glad they did.
I know. When I first heard that, I was like, "What?"
I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was great. Yeah. Shit. But in I don't know about you, but my experience was very intense. It was like hearing the music, obviously on your headphones or whatever is one thing, but actually being there, seeing them, and feeling the music is a totally different thing. It is so cool.
It's very different. To actually be this show. Like I said, I've seen them twice now, so that's enough to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Having seen them. Yeah, it was an experience for sure. Especially the second time. First time you get over that initial shock of seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were loud. I mean, they were loud. It sounded good, but it was just. It's like they were playing the volume of those 5,000 people arenas, and they're in a 500 person venue, and it was loud. I noticed that the Japanese bands they sound really good, but they play really loud.
Right. I felt that same experience when I was at the Scout Bar there, and it was like the energy they had on stage was really cool too. It was like
it's very energetic music. It's overwhelming the first time. At least that was my experience. It's very overwhelming. I know the songs. I knew them really well. I knew what they were playing when they played it. But it's in your face. It's loud. It's vibrant. It's very energetic.
Right.
It's very immediate. You're right there.
Mm-hmm. And
I could see him real clearly from where I was at.
Yeah, and seeing how Mayu sings and when she screams and stuff, and how she plays off of like the other members is just really cool to see. That's one thing I noticed too. They have really good, I guess, the crowd support or the way they interact with the crowd is really cool. I like that.
I'm jealous because by the time you've seen them, they had really loosened up. And I seen them. Those were their first two shows in America, and then they went back to Japan. When you've seen them, they had played 4 shows in California, and had gone down to South by Southwest and did 2 shows there. So by the time you've seen them, they were really comfortable. They were really, really relaxed.
You are 100% right there, because I do remember hearing and seeing that, the band seemed kind of a little stiffish, when they're playing the first show.
I wouldn't say stiffish. Maybe a touch standoffish and trying to adapt.
Yeah.
You had plenty of energy in that first show. And the members did well. But a certain acclimation that takes place after you do a half a dozen shows compared to your first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And by the time you've seen them, they had gone through that process. So I imagine by the time you've seen them, they were actually
right. And we need to put some perspective here. That South by Southwest show, was that the one where Mayu was preggers? Mayu was pregnant in that one, right?
That was an Aftershock.
Aftershock? Okay.
She was pregnant. She was pregnant at Whiskey A Go Go. She had her baby in November, and that was July 1st, and she had her baby at the end of November. So she's 3-4 months pregnant when she went to Whiskey A Go Go. She just hadn't told anyone.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
I just remember, I think it was the Aftershock one, where she was, you could tell.
Aftershock, so to put that in perspective, that was in October. That was October 7th. She had her baby on November 22nd. A month and a half later, she had her baby. She was 7.5 months pregnant. The show.
I remember, dude.
When you're 4'9", it really shows.
Yeah, can you? Oh man, and the level of energy she put out there on that show. Oh man, and doing that while you're pregnant. Oh god, I can't even imagine that. Oh man,
I'm really impressed by it. Is if you watch that DVD, the newest Blu-ray, Nemo Rising.
okay,
That was on February 10th. She had her baby on November 22nd. So that's 2.5 months later. She did that show.
yeah,
That's really impressive.
right.
Not Nemo Rising, I'm sorry. The one before that, Seize the Fate.
Seize the Fate.
That Blu-ray.
Okay.
That Blu-ray, where her hair's long and straight.
Uh-huh. So
that's the one.
man, I mean, like, could you imagine? It's like, what is that? Just
a warrior.
A warrior? Yeah. I mean, dedication. Jeez, man. I mean, I've
her
heard
excuses. Her excuses. All she has to do is hold the microphone. She talked about that when they were overseas here, when they were here in America, because the other members have to deal with equipment and all kinds of other hassles that she didn't have to deal with. So all I got to do is all I need is a microphone.
But yeah,
and that's what she
but
claimed when she came back from her pregnancy so quick.
It's like you're screaming, but like you put in so much energy, you're bouncing around, you're moving around, and you squat really low, Mayu.
It's more than just that. It's postpartum after you're pregnant.
Yeah.
She's gone through a lot of chemical changes.
Yeah.
For her at aftershock, tell the difference. There's a difference in her voice.
Yeah.
Being that pregnant. And you can hear the difference if you listen carefully. You can hear the difference in her voice at that Seize the Fate Blu-ray. Certain changes, but she does such a great job.
Yeah,
she performed well. She sounded good.
100%, 100%.
A little bit of post-op, and you can't even tell.
Yeah.
Watch the live stream. Then I was there at Aftershock, and I watched the live stream of that show. Became the Seize the Fate Blu-ray.
And you put in perspective, there's American bands that will like cancel a show if a singer has like a sprained ankle. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, all these people paid tickets, they flew out to see you, and you have a little sprained ankle. I'm sorry, Fred Durst, you're gonna have to go through with it. I just remember that thing. I'm not even a Limp Bizkit fan. I just remember that. I was like, okay, this guy's a fake. This guy's a bullshit.
Prima Donna. Yeah, I do not like prima donnas. Yeah. I have to admit. Clearly.
Okay, I'm gonna ask
clearly, you. I am very, very. I don't even know what the word to use. I'm very, very impressed with these Japanese girls as people. Dedication, their humility, personalities. Mm-hmm. They're incredible people.
Yeah,
you could be friends with them.
And they're very strong and very committed. Determined to follow through.
Level of determination. It's amazing.
So what are your top picks for like NEMOPHILA tracks? Like, what are your favorites, and why?
I used to have a list, all the songs that they never made public. Now most of them are public. Oddly enough, the song I like best out of all their songs to this day is Breaking Out. And they've never put it on YouTube. It's on Blu-ray, but you have to buy it. And I got them. I heard it because of live streams. You have to pay to hear it legally.
Okay.
To this day, it's the song I like best. Tamu sings in it.
Yeah.
Sings 2 verses.
Yeah, it's
a great song.
This was mentioned before on the stream, and I said I was gonna listen to it. I said I was gonna find a way to get it, and there's ways. there's ways.
If you buy the Revive Blu-ray, the live Blu-ray, So Nice to Finally Meet You, buy that one. It's on that Blu-ray.
Okay.
And it's going to be on the Blu-ray that's coming out when they put their next album out. There's 2 options where you get a live Blu-ray, and on that second show they did on July 30th this year. Was it Kobe? One of the options is that by Blu-ray, and it's on that show. I have the live stream recorded. And I have all their live streams from before that when they did that song. Every one of those live streams. It's a great song.
Now, in that one, does Haraguchi-san also sing, or is that a different one?
Is that?
There's another song I heard recently of theirs that was like kind of unreleased. I think it's called Blooming. I think I'm thinking of another one.
Blooming.
Where Haraguchi-san
Blooming
sings.
but they've got Blooming is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Live. They haven't put it on an album yet either. It's another one, and I like that one a lot. But I used to have a list of them. Game Over before Revive came out. Like that. Those two were the ones I liked the best. Game Over and Breaking Out, and they probably still are. Honestly, really like those songs. And the other odd thing about those two songs is that both those songs are collaborations between Mayu and Tamu.
Oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they work well together. Friends now. That blows me away.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be a thing with a band, right? They seem to be very comfortable with each other.
Yeah, very tight, very
friendly.
close. But Tamu and Mayu are turning into twins.
I mean, and I'm kind of wondered too, like, okay, with especially with Japanese bands, Japanese female bands, there's like they seem to break up or they seem to have issues, like with Destros and stuff like that.
That happens everywhere, and it hasn't been that bad as compared to American bands. I think of the bands when I was growing up, and all the breakups and constant drama. Girls are actually doing pretty good, but there are enough.
Okay, that helps put it in perspective.
Astros had so many people leave. Bright Deers had 3 guitarists quit.
Yeah.
Who else?
Fate Gear. I think is Fate Gear tight?
Failed.
Yeah, I guess it's not as much as others in other areas, but it is something that you do see. I think with the Destros tree is what kind of makes people go, oh yeah, because the Destros era, they had a high turnover, and a lot of the members
they had a really high turnover, and it would be easy to say that Minao Taicho, Captain Mina, she calls herself.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to construe her as hard to work with, and she might be. I don't know.
Hey, she's a captain for a reason. Factors. She earned that title.
There's a lot of other factors.
Yeah.
LDS has had 3 singers quit from health problems.
Yeah,
After
that's
it
true.
Spin, the original singer quit, and then later she died. 2015.
Yeah.
What's her name? Okay, Shitomi. She died. She was like 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make her age public, but based on the other members' age, which they make their ages public, I'm going to put her at about 25 years old when she died. And that's crazy.
Yeah, she died really young, and
a bunch of them had health problems. Okay, so a bunch of the people quitting bands is because of it's a lot of effort and tour all the time. It's a lot of effort, and females, they're in a male dominant society, and that means that they're kind of spoiled in some ways. In some ways, they're not. They work really hard. They're very dynamic individuals, but in some ways, they're a bit spoiled. That's a product of a male dominant society. Society like that tends to hamper females.
Well,
I don't know if that's a factor or not.
Yeah, I mean, so some did that have health issues. True. I mean, then there's other bands where people just leave.
If you eliminate that, if you eliminate the ones where the bands have just failed because they didn't get enough recognition soon enough, they just ran out of money, they couldn't keep going, the record companies kicked them to the curb, what have you. That eliminates some more.
Yeah.
But you're right. There has been some turnover in certain bands. A lot of turnover.
Yeah. So what I was saying with that is I really hope that that does not happen with NEMOPHILA, and I don't think it will. They seem to be really tight with one another.
Either.
They seem to be
I don't
very
think
friendly.
it will either. I don't think that they adjust. It's too much of their chemistry makes them what they are. And it's the 5 of them together.
Yeah.
I don't think it would not be the same.
And I like the word you used there, chemistry. Yeah, the chemistry. They have really good chemistry there.
Even one member change would be, very devastating to that group.
Could be, yeah.
It would be something different. It might be good, but it'd be something different. It wouldn't be NEMOPHILA.
Yeah. I hopefully don't have to cross that bridge. hopefully we don't have to go there, because things are going well. In fact, I'll say that they're having an amazing time right now. I'm sure you've been paying attention that like their YouTube channel has been exploding in the subs right now, right? It is going bananas, I would say. It's going crazy. They went like, what was it? They had like, let's see, about 2 days ago on the 25th, this person said 265,000, and then just recently now they're like what, 315,000? Actually, 342,000 subs on YouTube. Crazy.
Good.
They're growing
really
big time, which means
they've worked hard for it though. I think they're doing it right. They're not on a record company. They're independent.
They're not on a record company.
They're not on a record company. Label? What they're doing is they're signing contracts for distribution only. They don't have a record company owning them like Victor owns Bytes, for example. You've got Shoya as their own management company called Masterworks, and they're using that as their management company and a distribution channel. So JPU Records has a contract to distribute their material in Europe. He did sign one for a Revive with somebody here in the United States, but those are distribution channels only. They aren't signed with a record company. I think it's important.
So how does that work? Control. So with Masterworks, who's managing that? Who's like?
That's owned by Shoya Singer.
Okay.
Kochirada, the one who runs the Now No Yawn festival every year.
Okay.
That's her baby. So they have their own. It's their own company. It's a company.
Right.
And they have their own employees, and they act as management company, and then they've got contracts for distribution of the acts that they manage.
I mean,
built in.
If Masterworks manages, so does Masterwork manage NEMOPHILA?
Yeah, they act as their management company, but basically what that means is that NEMOPHILA is managing themselves.
Well, they have a manager though, right?
No, they don't have a manager. They have professionals who do the job for them.
Okay.
They're making their own calls.
I mean, that sounds like a manager, though. I mean,
no, a manager will tell a band what to do. Okay, that's not necessarily the case every time, because the idea would be not for that to happen. The manager would be a facilitator, basically. They're only facilitators. They're not manage. They don't tell them what you need to do here or there. They might suggest stuff to them, but Mayu and Chucky are in control of that group.
I'm really curious about this because when it comes to touring, who's covering the tab on the expenses on that? Like, how are they doing that? Because that's usually done on like in a debt, like
they're paying for it themselves. See, what usually happens is the record company pays for it up front, and they charge the band.
Well, okay, well, I want to ask, like, how do you know they're covering it themselves? Like,
that's how they make a profit.
Okay.
And I know the inside of this because I've been there. And what a record company will do is they'll front you to tour, and promote your album and produce the album and sell it. But then they charge you back. They charge you exorbitantly, and their math is always in their favor. We'll just put it
Right.
that way.
Nothing's free. Yeah, I mean, they'll
And they tell you what to do. Tell you what the album's going to sound like. They tell you these things. I avoided that when I did it, but the cost was kind of great. In most cases, they try to run a band, try to control a band. In America here with the RIAA, they control those acts. Those acts are just people who are being told what to do, told how to dress, told what to sound like in the studio. They run those bands. And
if they're not delivering and not making money, if they're not making money, they're going to come in and make changes, right? Because
even if they are making money, they'll think of new ways to make more money, they think. And they'll stick their hands in, and that does not work out well. Look at sequels in Hollywood, for an example. You're not know best.
Well,
so that's
okay.
another conversation.
So
that's another conversation. NEMOPHILA is in control of their own destiny, and it's working out for them. Been working really, really hard.
That definitely does seem to be the case. Like they are doing well right now, and they're growing.
They always have been.
They're growing a lot more now than they have, though. I mean, that's for sure.
Not exploding, like I've seen other groups do. They're not exploding. It's been a steady rise. It's been a very, very steady rise.
NEMOPHILA's growing, dude. They're growing pretty big just recently. We could look at Social Blade right now. It's been crazy, man. It's good. It's good to celebrate. Let's acknowledge it. They're doing great, man.
It's been a real steady rise. This started in September of 2019. And they've worked really, really hard, and it's gained momentum. But that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be doing exactly what it's doing. I'd like to see an explosion, but it's not. That's not happening. But this is working.
Are you sure,
momentum.
Dude? I'm asking you because just about everyone's special. There's a lot of buzz around NEMOPHILA fans right now, being like, "Whoa, this is crazy." And the YouTube channel is just exploding in subs, and you're saying it's not.
There's been times when that's cooled off a little bit because they haven't been working as hard. Things happen. Tamu got pregnant twice. Mayu got pregnant. Things happened where they weren't putting out as much stuff at a particular time. But it's been a real steady rise. It's been a real steady rise. And that's the idea, is that it gains momentum. As time goes by, it gains momentum. I expect them to be 10 times as big a year from now as they are now.
Yeah.
Still a steady rise.
Well, I'll say this:
an explosion would be 1,000 times bigger than they are right now. That'd be an explosion.
What about 100,000? Because that's what happened on their YouTube channel. That's what happened.
All those things are possible. That's not what's happened. What's happened is it's been a very, very steady rise. It's gained momentum as time keeps going by.
But based on the YouTube channel, that's what happened. They increased over like 100,000. Like in very short duration, and it's quite impressive though. And I have to ask, I think it has to do with the stuff, the buzz around the EP, the cover EP that they released.
I think it's everything they've been doing from the beginning to now. They've kept it going. You have to understand the idea of gain momentum. That ramp up's gonna keep getting faster and faster and faster. That's what it's supposed to do. In the work. And people start noticing you, and it becomes bigger and bigger, and it's going to be bigger and bigger chunks. Like I said, I expect a year from now they'll be 10 times more known than they are now, 10 times bigger than they are now. It's my expectation.
They probably will be, especially at the rate that they're going.
That is, to me, is still a steady rise, not an explosion.
Okay, so what are your thoughts about the cover EP?
It's interesting. It's part of where they seem to be going. All of their new songs, starting with Eyes, have been in a different direction, a very different direction. They're getting more technical, heavier. And Mayu said this in an interview quite a while ago, like a year ago, that she wanted to do more power ballads and more heavy stuff, and with more of her growling. she really likes Zen, where she growls through the whole song. She wants to do more of that.
Okay.
She wants to do more heavy songs. So she wants to do both more soft songs and more heavy songs. And that's definitely where they seem to be going. More technical. That's what I like. I like that. I like this direction. We'll see how the fan base takes it when they put out their next album. But I've been noticing this trend since the first album, where longtime fans hate it when it first comes out, and then shortly after, within a few months, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So by the time the next album comes out that they hate, they're talking about the last album.
Okay.
That they hated when it came out.
So what's the song? I think I know what song you're thinking of. Oh, what's a song that they released that the fans did not like at first? I think I know which one you're gonna say.
Well, the one that surprised me on Revive is Hypnosis. That surprised the hell out of me. It did not get more traction than it did.
Oh,
it's very progressive. It's a Hara-chan song, like Zen and style. She actually wrote the music too. She's getting really involved in the songwriting. Her compositions and arrangements are more technical, more progressive. I was surprised that didn't catch on more immediately, but slowly it's gaining traction. What else? Traction like I thought.
What
it
about?
should.
Man, I was actually expecting you to say Style. I remember when Style came out, they're like, "What is this? Rap? Why are they doing rap?"
Really to be expected. That was really to be expected. That's way out of their wheelhouse. They did it really well. I'll give them that.
I mean, I guess with Dissension, yeah, but like it was a full song of rap though.
They need to do stuff like that. Challenge themselves, challenge their fan base. Have every song doesn't have to be a NEMOPHILA song. I don't like that. I don't like when there's a lot of groups out there that you hear them and you know it's them, and to me that's very boring.
Gotcha.
You're not out there challenging yourself. You're not doing something that's very, very different from your mainstream. It doesn't matter whether fans like it. You need to do it, I think. And Style fits that.
What I do enjoy about Style was the bass and drumming in that is really cool. Really stands out a lot.
The overall writing, again, Hara-chan wrote the music to that.
Yeah.
And Mayu did the words. And I'm not surprised at what it did. I'm not surprised it kind of got overlooked a little bit. It's very progressive. It's very different from the main body of work.
It is different.
It has the rap elements. It has, all these other elements in it that they haven't embodied too much to date. It sounds like they might be the newer stuff. It's not that style.
We'll see. It sounds like from what we just said, like the newer stuff might combine more like the hard and heavy with like some ballads. That seems like it'd be cool.
Yes, she said she wanted to do more ballads. The power ballads like Life and Game Over.
Oh, Life is good. Yeah.
Now I Hear and
yeah,
those are great songs.
They are really good.
And she wants to do more of that kind of stuff as well. So she wanted to do both heavier and softer.
Well, I could definitely see it happen because I mean that's something that they're good at doing. So yeah, I think the fans would eat that up. I think they'll definitely like it.
EP is very heavy.
Yeah. The EP. So the cover EP. Oh, I was going to ask you. Do you have a favorite cover on the cover EP?
I like Sugar.
Sugar? Yeah.
I like all four of them. Honestly, I like all four of the songs. To me, the Limp Bizkit is the one I like the least, but I was expecting that to happen, and I was really surprised at how much people were joking that it's the name of that band. I don't know how you pronounce it. Rotund.
Oh,
more of their
Grafty, yeah.
I don't feel a song because of the two singers have have a lot in it, in the collaboration. They're singing a lot, and I was surprised by that. And it's interesting, but
Yeah, that cover, that was my least favorite. I remember.
Thick Sugar and Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets. I wish she would have growled it out instead of using her clean voice.
Oh,
As much as she did.
yeah.
I wish she would have growled that one out. But and her voice doesn't really suit doing a James Hetfield style unless she growls.
Oh well, James Hetfield wasn't growling though. He was just yelling.
Oh, but he's got the kind of voice that fits that song, and her clean voice.
She was trying to emulate it. Sounded like, yeah.
I know what happened. She tried both, and she didn't like the growling it out because I know what that would sound like. I've heard bands do Master of Puppets, growling, and
yeah, she probably did try 2 different takes of it, probably several takes.
I guarantee she tried it.
Yeah,
because she likes growling, and that's a song that should have worked. I wasn't there; I didn't hear it, and she doesn't sound bad. Just
I like
voice doesn't really.
What really stuck out for me. Well, what about the tone of the guitars? Like did that really stick out? How
the music is incredible.
Yeah, that was really good.
Drums are off the charts good. I mean, she just blew up Lars.
Well, I think. What about what was it called?
The guitar solos and the guitars.
Oh,
great.
Oh yeah, of course the guitar work is great. It's fantastic.
And so good at doing covers. They work really hard, and they do really polished covers that maintain the integrity of the original piece. They do it so well. I've never heard anyone do it that well, and they do it very consistently, time after time. What they did with Master of Puppets, even the vocals, maintain the integrity of the song. It's just Mayu instead of Hetfield, which, if you've heard the song as many times as I have, it's a little bit of a shock the first time you hear somebody else singing it. No matter how good they do it instrumentally, her voice comes in. They do it so well, it's almost like it's Metallica but better. And then her voice comes in as a bit of a shock. So I need to hear it a few more times. It'll grow on me, I'm sure.
That kind of takes us back to like when they first started, because when they first started on YouTube, they were doing a lot of covers, and that's actually what seemed to be what helped them get
they did that
attention.
Because they couldn't tour.
Exactly.
So that was their fix for touring, is they didn't have enough songs written themselves to start releasing their own songs, so they did a bunch of covers. And their very first cover is still their most popular video on YouTube. Trooper is like twice as many listeners as anything else they've done. It's been out there the longest too. But it did well initially. And in fact, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Tamu did a drum cam the same song, the same take, series of takes, but it's all her. It's all based on her that she put on her own channel, and her version of it actually went over 1 million before the NEMOPHILA version.
Whoa!
Now the NEMOPHILA version is far past hers. It's like 3.5 million or something.
Yeah, and he's not lying here, because I'm looking at their channel right here. If you search their videos based on popularity, the Iron Maiden, the Trooper cover is still the #1 video on their channel, followed by Dissension, and then X Japan.
Very first one, and Dissension's what, 2 million ish?
It's at 3.4 million for the Trooper, and then Dissension is 2.6 million.
Like 2.
Yeah.
Dissension's like 2 million.
Yeah, 2.6 million, and then
2.6.
Yeah,
it's catching up. It's catching up big time. At one point in time, Super doubled anything else they had done, and it's still way ahead. But it was the very first video. It's a pretty iconic version, you have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, so
I have a live stream
version
of it. I like it better than that studio version.
Oh, yeah.
So I listen to that when I want to listen to them doing that song, because their live cover of it's just amazing. They need to put that on their channel.
I think doing these covers like they did before, I think it helps get exposure to the band, because a lot of people who don't know who NEMOPHILA is would be like, oh, what's this? I know what the Trooper is. Let me check this out. And they'll be blown away by it.
When you go to listen to a band in the first place, it takes a while to get adjusted to their sound.
Yeah.
If they do a cover and they do a good job, you can already, it's a song you already like. You've already got that connection.
Yeah.
And I think that lends itself well to being to a band like NEMOPHILA, because they're high level musicianship. Their music is not the most approachable, definitely not mainstream music, and it's not the most approachable music on earth. People need to get used to it. They actually have classes out there for teaching people how to listen to classical music. Classical music appreciation courses, they call it.
Yeah, if you need classes
Teaches you
on how to listen to
to
it, that's
classical
probably
music, how
not
to
going to
understand it, to become acclimated to it. NEMOPHILA's got the same kind of process necessary, maybe not the same level, but that same kind of process to understand their music. Even for someone who's been into music a long time like I have, there's a certain time that you transition into getting used to the sound. A lot of their songs took me a while to get into. They grew on me. It was the ones that I like instantly, that I love and I still love. And there's some that have grown on me, like Sorai,
Yeah.
for example. I didn't really like that at first, but after a while, it just started growing on me, and now I understand why they like it so much.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think that acclimation is one of the things that they face.
I think
High level musicianship, their music's very technical.
Yeah.
It's done very, very well. People will appreciate that, but there's a difference between appreciating the fact that they're good and actually listening to them.
Well, yeah, you're definitely right up there as far as like when if you're not if you're not used to a band, not used to their sound, if they play something that you're familiar with very well, be like, hey, you get used to it.
A lot quicker.
Mm-hmm. So that's one theory people have about what some people are saying is a recent surge of subs on YouTube is like the EP, and the stuff around it, like the music videos around it, which have done really well. So that's
gains momentum.
Yes.
Yeah. They lay the groundwork. They get established. They get a fan base. And they keep working hard, and they keep putting out music. And cover thing definitely helps. Covers, and whatever reason, music has a big fan base these days. Not every case, not every band that's heavy, but ones that get accepted by more people have a very strong fan base. And these heavier bands, sometimes it amazes me how many views they get on YouTube, how many streams they get. Right. I'm like amazed. This is really heavy music, like say a Meshuggah or I don't know, the really heavy Behemoth. Got real strong fan base. They get a lot. They're very popular. They get a lot of people listening to music.
That is true. Yeah.
The French band. So I'm getting in a heavier direction doing these covers. Probably a good thing for them. They do it very, very well. They're very, very good at it. There seems to be a lot of demand for that real heavy music. So there's that.
Okay. Yeah, and they're doing.
Surprised that the surge is happening right now, because I didn't think that cover album was going to be accepted as it obviously is. It's the work they put in already. A lot of it gaining momentum.
Yeah, there definitely is. I would say their fan base is definitely growing. You could see it, and their fans are definitely really enjoying the music that they're hearing. I'm sure they're very.
It's a power of 10 thing too. Okay, you show 10 people NEMOPHILA. You show 100 people NEMOPHILA, and 10 of them like it.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing. Okay, then those 10 people go out and they start showing other people NEMOPHILA. So it's supposed to exponentially grow. It's supposed to gain momentum. It's supposed to get big fast
Yeah.
after they put in a few years of hard work. Most bands
Right.
are 10-year overnight successes, so they can be thankful. They've only been together 4 years.
So with everything you see with NEMOPHILA so far, where do you see them going? Like let's say a couple years from now.
There's two versions of that in my mind: realistic one and optimistic one. Optimistic version. Optimistic version. I want to see them become really big. They're as good as any other group out there. To me, they're the best group on earth right now.
Okay.
In some
I
way,
agree.
the best. I mean, who else actually challenges them overall? Me, no one out there who's really that it factor. Um, before they got to the level they are now, I really like Love Bites. I listen to them a lot, and there's some other bands I listen to a lot. Unlucky Morpheus I like a lot, but they've surpassed all of them in my mind. And nobody right now is at their level. There's bands that were, they aren't now. Right now, the top of the food chain as far as I'm concerned. So my optimistic view is that they become very big. If they keep the momentum they've got going now, it's going to gain momentum. So I expect in a few years that you don't have to worry about don't have to worry about they don't have to worry about selling enough records. They won't be rich. They won't be poor. They'll be self-sufficient. I think they have been for some time now, so that's a very, very good thing. But I think they would tour America again in a heartbeat. But they expended some resources to do it, and they didn't get as much attention as they were hoping for. A little bit more support like they're getting now, they can do that again, and they can go to Europe. A couple years, I expect them to be able to do that and start selling out those houses a little bit bigger venues.
Yeah.
I expect that. I'd like to see them stadium level.
Well, yeah, they definitely
big
have.
house.
Well, they have. They're gonna be playing at the Budokan next
Start.
February.
It's a big start.
Yeah.
It's 8,000 people. It's a big start.
Yep. Pretty good start, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, NEMOPHILA is one of my favorite bands, and
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. RDK's 8,000 people. Budokan's like 14.
Well, it's still a pretty good event, pretty significant venue.
2,000 is big in Tokyo.
So,
Played,
but yeah,
but Budokan is iconic. It has a storied history.
Yeah.
It's a household name in America. Everybody
That's
knows
true.
when you say that you played there. Everybody knows where you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
So
So
that's a big deal in itself.
So it's amazing to see that they're going to be playing there, and it's just another reason why I think it's just NEMOPHILA has that energy. They have that momentum, and they've earned it. And yeah. So
They've done it journeyman style. They've done it collar style. They went out there and they got in the trenches and they worked hard for it. They played little places and their little hearts out into it. Been no big break for them. They've worked really hard all the way to get here. I really like that. Wish they would have exploded. I think they deserve it, but the fact that they earned it means something.
100%, they definitely have earned it. And while I could go on for even longer talking about NEMOPHILA, I do have certain. If a stream's like 2 hours long, it's like people kind of lose interest. But this has been very fun. This has been a very cool conversation with James.
One of the conversations I've had recently. Thank you.
With James about NEMOPHILA. What I like doing is talking to fans of the bands and see why they're a fan of it, what their favorite songs are, and what their stories are about it, and all that stuff. And this has been really cool. I really did enjoy having you on to talk about, well, NEMOPHILA.
Hopefully somebody watches this.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. Well, we had some people in the chat. It was pretty cool. Thanks for all you guys for hanging out, and y'all take it easy. Have a good one, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Thank you. This was interesting. I was wondering if I was gonna like having a conversation like this, but this was great.